It was never just a show. It was a battleground of emotion. When it finally ended, the silence felt heavier than the arguments ever did. We hated, loved, and wanted to shake each other all at once, one cast member recalled. But for Cybill Shepherd, the screen was never just about performance. It was survival. Once celebrated as the Golden Girl of Hollywood, her story didn't just glitter, it scorched. From magazine covers to Oscar-nominated films, her rise was meteoric. But behind the glamour, a storm was always brewing. The question no one dared ask: does a woman born to shine suddenly disappear from the sky? Born on February 18, 1950 in Memphis, Tennessee, Cybill was never destined for ordinary. With a father who owned a small appliance business and a mother who poured her heart into homemaking, raised in a middle-class household, middle child among three. Her name, a blend of her grandfather, Cy, and her father, Bill, was already unique. Just like her spirit. Even in childhood, she didn't wait for opportunities to knock, kick the door open. In high school, she skipped class to audition for a modeling job, already setting fire to the rulebook of Southern expectations. At 16, Cybill entered the Miss Teenage Memphis pageant and won. Though she didn't place at the National Miss Teenage America competition, she was crowned Miss Congeniality, proof that her charm ran deeper than appearance. That same charisma would carry her into modeling. By 18, she'd become the face of L'Oreal and graced the cover of Glamour magazine. One image, snapped in youth, full of promise, changed her life forever. Peter Bogdanovich, already an acclaimed director, spotted the cover in a supermarket checkout line and made a call that would change cinema history. Without a single acting credit to her name, Cybill won the lead role in The Last Picture Show. One knew what to expect. And yet, what she delivered was raw, intimate, unforgettable. At just 21, she exposed not just her body, her vulnerability to the lens, transforming from cover girl to complex actress in a single breath. Film exploded. 8 Oscar nominations, 2 wins, and Cybill herself earned a Golden Globe nod for Most Promising Newcomer. She wasn't just the next big thing, she was the thing. The same screen that made her a legend would later become a mirror reflecting her darkest chapters. She wasn't just acting, she was becoming a symbol. Yet fame isn't a crown, it's a weight. As Hollywood embraced her, it also scrutinized her every move. Her relationship with Peter Bogdanovich soon crossed professional boundaries. He was married. She was young. Headlines turned brutal. And though she kept working, landing roles in Taxi Driver and Daisy Miller, the public became more interested in her personal life than her talent. How do you fight for your career when your love life becomes your headline? But Cybill never played victim. She pushed back, made bold choices, and clashed openly with the TV industry's gatekeepers. Later, as Maddie Hayes in Moonlighting with Bruce Willis, she reclaimed her throne. Their chemistry? Electric. Their arguments? Legendary. The tension on screen was real because it was fueled by behind-the-scenes battles. Worked. The show became a cultural phenomenon, and Cybill, once dismissed, became a household name again. Hook. She wasn't just acting in a hit series, she was fighting for her legacy. Despite the fame, money, and acclaim, Cybill faced something no award could protect her from: pain. Years after the spotlight began to fade, she revealed she'd battled malignant skin cancer. Physical pain was excruciating. What cut deeper was the emotional solitude. In her memoir, Cybill Disobedience, she bared it all. Filters, no makeup, just truth. She spoke of career betrayals, health battles, and the deafening silence of an industry that forgets fast. What happens when Hollywood's golden girl is no longer golden? Financially, Cybill had her highs and lows. At her peak, she was commanding 6-figure movie deals, landing luxury endorsements, and investing in her own production projects. She owned sprawling homes, including a lavish estate in Encino and a penthouse in Beverly Hills. Taste in luxury? Timeless. She was seen in classic Jaguars and Mercedes-Benz convertibles. Her wrist? Often graced by vintage Cartier and Rolex watches. She wasn't just about show, she understood value. She put money into businesses, backed smaller indie films, and even dabbled in real estate investments. Financial planning wasn't reckless, it was adaptive. During her television years, she ensured she had coverage across health, liability, and asset insurance. Her team reportedly negotiated career insurance to secure payouts in case illness kept her off set. Forward-thinking in a world that chews people up overnight. In an industry where stars burn out fast, how did Cybill safeguard her future? But there were setbacks. Like many stars of her era, she struggled with income fluctuations. Hollywood's ageism hit hard. Roles dried up, paychecks shrank. Yet Cybill's mindset never broke. She pivoted, writing, directing, and mentoring younger talent. She found strength in transparency and dignity in reinvention. Her financial journey, marked by bold spending, smart protection, and resilience, is a lesson in adaptation. She lived in luxury, yes. She also lived with intention. Something uniquely magnetic about Cybill Shepherd's story. She didn't follow trends. She made them. Didn't apologize for her ambition. She wore it like armor. From pageant stages in Memphis to standing ovations in Hollywood, she never stood still. And when the applause died down, she didn't vanish. She transformed. When fame fades, do you vanish or evolve? Yet the world didn't see the bruises left by those years. On the red carpet, Cybill smiled. Golden Globes in hand, she gave the illusion of a woman in control. But privately, she was unraveling a truth every woman in Hollywood eventually faces. The spotlight blinds more than it illuminates. She wasn't just battling industry pressure. She was battling the betrayal of someone she once trusted implicitly. That crack in her professional foundation became a fracture in her personal belief system. Still, she pressed forward. 1995, Cybill pulled off what many thought was impossible. She reinvented herself, this time with the sitcom Cybill. She wasn't just the face of the show, she was its architect. This wasn't a vanity project. It was a declaration, a voice for every aging actress Hollywood had thrown out once the studio lights stopped flattering their jawlines. There was a character living on the edge of middle age, scraping together auditions while dealing with exes, erratic kids, and casting directors who used over 40 like a diagnosis. Audiences didn't just watch, they saw themselves. The humor was biting, the feminism unapologetic, and the vulnerability raw. This was Lucille Ball with razor wire under the laugh track, praised Cybill as the Lucille Ball of the 90s, and for good reason. The show tore through taboos like tissue paper, female aging, Hollywood's double standards, single motherhood, and that hollow space fame leaves behind. And the impact? Massive. 12 Emmy nominations, back-to-back Golden Globes, and CBS ratings gold. But the real win was cultural. Without Cybill, there may have been no The Good Wife, Grace and Frankie, or Big Little Lies. Christine Baranski, her co-star, later admitted, "It was the first time I worked on a show where the woman wasn't defined by the men around her." But then came the silence. Abrupt. Unexplained. Cybill was pulled off air despite strong numbers. Truth didn't surface until 2018, when Cybill sat down for a raw, unfiltered interview and dropped a bombshell. During a private dinner with CBS CEO Les Moonves, he made a suggestive comment and offered her a ride home. She declined, rudely, just clearly. Followed was corporate sabotage. Scenes rewritten, budgets slashed, and finally, cancellation. Moonves later resigned after multiple accusations of misconduct, but Cybill never received so much as a phone call. Her story, dismissed for years, became evidence of an entire culture's rot. Still, Cybill never let bitterness replace her integrity. "If I had said yes that night," she said in a public talk, "maybe Cybill would have lasted, but I would have lost something far more important than a show." That decision, that quiet refusal, became one of the boldest moments in a career built on defiance. Before her television fame, Cybill had already proven her chops on the big screen. Performance in The Last Picture Show didn't just introduce her, it launched her like a cannonball. Then came The Heartbreak Kid and Taxi Driver, where she played characters who wielded calmness like a weapon. These weren't damsels, they were enigmas, that mirrored Cybill's ability to say volumes with a glance. Even after stepping away from the spotlight to raise her children, she never completely retreated. Guest spots in Fantasy Island and Criminal Minds, indie films and jazz albums followed. Her music, especially Cybill Gets Better and At Long Last Love, reflected a woman who had traded fame for finesse. Didn't chase the charts. She pursued the craft. What of her empire? Over the decades, Cybill quietly assembled a real estate portfolio that whispers, rather than screams. Her primary residence in Encino, California, is a sprawling Mediterranean-style villa, valued at just under $5 million. She owns rental properties that generate steady income, tucked away from TMZ lenses. Unlike her contemporaries who went for splashy Malibu mansions or West Hollywood penthouses, Cybill chose subtlety, kind of strategic invisibility. Her net worth, once battered by the industry's bias and inconsistent roles, has recovered gracefully. Currently estimated at $40 million, projections indicate it could rise by another 20% in the next 5 years, thanks to licensing deals, her back catalog's residuals, and an upcoming memoir that already has publishing houses circling. Luxury isn't absent from her life. It's just curated. Cybill has been seen driving a sleek silver Mercedes-Benz S-Class, the kind that blends into the hills but oozes quiet confidence. She's been spotted with vintage Cartier and Rolex watches, gifts to herself after personal or professional milestones. And while she doesn't own a private jet, she has access through fractional jet programs, allowing her the flexibility of high-end travel without the public fanfare. It's a lesson in her lifestyle, one that many younger celebrities fail to grasp. It's not about flaunting success. It's about preserving power. The real currency in Hollywood isn't attention. It's autonomy. Even now, she's not finished. Cybill is in talks to return in a limited streaming series where she plays a retired actress confronting her past. A storyline blurring fiction and reality. There's speculation that the role will mirror her own journey, complete with industry betrayals, personal evolution, and the sharp-edged humor that's become her trademark. What's gripping is how Cybill Shepherd turned her life into a long game. Not everyone gets redemption, but she carved out something rarer. A second act, with dignity and tact. It's a reminder that in a town obsessed with youth, some legacies don't fade. They evolve, but beneath the candor, beneath the rebellious fire that defined her early years, Cybill Shepherd's later life paints a different portrait, one of resilience forged through sorrow. The woman who once lit up red carpets with Peter Bogdanovich and flirted with rock royalty like Elvis ended up battling shadows no camera ever caught. A fast-paced youth of glitter and chaos slowly gave way to the quiet heartbreak of loss. Deaths of her father, sister, and beloved mother within a decade carved deep voids. "Thought I was invincible," she confessed, "until I wasn't." Her heyday, Cybill wasn't just an actress. She was a force. From the Last Picture Show to Moonlighting, she commanded attention. But behind those sharp cheekbones and the confident sass lay someone grappling with identity, faith, and belonging. One of the most gripping shifts came after her engagement to Serbian-born therapist Andrej Nikolovic, and she turned back to Christianity, confessing, "A part of my heart wouldn't heal until I turned to Jesus." It was the kind of raw vulnerability that made fans lean closer, not because she was flawless, but because she finally admitted she wasn't. In her memoir, Cybill Disobedience, she shattered any illusions. There were no coy euphemisms, just raw confessions, from youthful escapades to stinging heartbreak. Hooked into her storytelling was one question that keeps haunting readers. What happens when freedom collides with regret? Answered it by living unfiltered, even if it meant being dubbed a terrifying nymphomaniac by the press. But the public shock became her liberation. She wasn't asking for forgiveness. She was asking for understanding. And just when fans thought the storms had passed, Cybill revealed her battle with a rare skin cancer, dermatofibrosarcoma protuberans. The tumor on her back required aggressive treatment. For years, she stayed silent, only breaking her silence in 2004, in her third year of remission. "It changes everything," she said. "Live differently when you faced mortality." The remission came as a blessing. But another torment lingered. 2 decades of undiagnosed irritable bowel syndrome, leading to chronic pain and humiliation. Doctors dismissed her as paranoid, even delusional. But after finally being properly diagnosed, Cybill transformed her shame into advocacy. She began speaking at medical forums, especially for women. "I once walked into a party," she joked, "and asked strangers how menopause was treating them. Everyone froze. But someone had to say it." What's rarely spoken of, however, is her financial evolution. From red carpet royalty to a self-made businesswoman, Cybill's journey is one of strategic reinvention. Her estimated net worth, which hovered around $8 million in the late 2000s, has seen slow but consistent growth. Today, she stands closer to $16 million, thanks to royalties, licensing, smart investments, and the steady success of her past shows on syndication platforms. Her real estate portfolio reflects her dual nature: classic elegance with rebellious flair. In the late 1990s, she purchased a modest yet luxurious property in Encino, California, an estate valued now at over $4.2 million. She also quietly invested in a Mountain View ranch in Northern California, which has appreciated significantly, now worth over $2.7 million. While she never indulged in flashy mansions, her taste leaned toward serene privacy and timeless architecture. It's less Kardashian spectacle, more Diane Keaton aesthetic. And while Cybill never flaunted her toys like some A-listers, she did indulge in comfort-driven luxury. For nearly a decade, she drove a Range Rover Autobiography, followed by a hybrid Porsche Cayenne, vehicles that mirrored her grounded yet powerful persona. Her wrist, on occasion, featured a vintage Cartier tank and a rare Omega Lady Matic, quiet symbols of timeless rebellion. The lesser-known facts is her savvy with insurance. After her cancer diagnosis, Cybill expanded her health insurance coverage to include private specialist access, a $5 million policy on future acting work to safeguard against loss of income, and additional asset protection. Her policies weren't just safety nets, they were financial chess moves. Having experienced abrupt career shifts, she prioritized long-term security for her children and grandchildren. Investments extended beyond Hollywood. Cybill partnered in early-stage funding for a women-led skincare brand focused on aging wellness, projected to hit $40 million in valuation by 2026. She also retains equity in a Nashville-based theater renovation project and holds bonds in ESG-focused tech startups. Her entrepreneurial instincts, often overshadowed by tabloid scandals, are now proving prescient. There's a lesson here, not just in resilience, but in strategic reinvention. Cybill's story whispers a truth Hollywood rarely promotes: wild hearts can grow wise. Financial journey teaches us that wealth isn't built in the spotlight. It's preserved in quiet choices, cautious deals, and long-term planning. And then came the moment no one expected. 2014, she became a grandmother. Daughter Ariel, married to fashion mogul Eliza Laddens, hosted a wedding that felt more like a modern fairy tale than a Hollywood affair. Cybill stood among the guests, raising a glass with a joke so hilariously inappropriate it brought the room to tears. She later said, "I've never seen love this pure." In that moment, she wasn't a rebel or a star. She was a woman who had lived, lost, and finally felt at peace. How does a woman so battered by time, scandal, and silence still stand up, grin, and laugh at life's cruelest jokes? It's because Cybill never stopped choosing to feel everything, every heartbreak, every triumph, every loss. She aged, yes, but she did not fade. She faced illness, but refused invisibility. She lost the people she loved, but never lost herself. She once asked in her memoir, "Can you love recklessly and still be good?" Maybe that's what her whole life was about, testing the boundaries of grace and chaos. A world that measures women by perfection, Cybill Shepherd dared to be whole instead. So when you see her now, grandmother, survivor, advocate, you see more than a Hollywood icon. You see a woman who traded her spotlight for something more enduring, truth. And in a city obsessed with reinvention, maybe her most daring act was becoming real. That's a wrap on this roller coaster ride through the stunning, scandalous, and deeply human journey of Cybill Shepherd. From her fearless rise to stardom to the loves that lifted and shattered her, to her brutal health battles and bold comebacks, Cybill has lived a life that's anything but ordinary. She's shown us that glamour can coexist with grit, that motherhood can be the greatest role of all, and that reinvention isn't a luxury, it's survival. Whether she was stealing scenes on screen or turning pain into power behind closed doors, Cybill never once played it safe. Felt every twist and turn? Drop us a like and let us know in the comment. What surprised you most about her story? Favorite Cybill moment? We want to hear it. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. We've got jaw-dropping stories from Hollywood's most unexpected legends, some you thought you knew, and some that will totally blow your mind. Because in Hollywood, the truth isn't just stranger than fiction, it is the fiction. Cybill once said, "I couldn't fake being a mother." Maybe that's the heart of her legacy. Raw, real, and unapologetically unforgettable. Stick around. This journey through fame, fortune, and fierce resilience is just getting started.